Thank you, Brian, for this opportunity to talk about the program. Like he said, my name is Miss Goodson. My name is Wanyata Goodson, and I'm one of the teachers in the cosmetology program. And the cosmetology program is part of the CTE um, area of your public school system. Cosmetology, I don't know what you guys already know about cosmetology, but cosmetology encompasses an area of services, um, hair, skincare, nails. And under hair falls your hair cutting, hairstyling, hair coloring, um, perms, relaxers, what else? Natural hair, all that falls under your hairstyling part. And under your skincare falls your facials, hair removal, makeup. Under nails falls pedicures, manicures. That falls under your um, um, nails and toenails area. The program, the credentials for the program, cosmetology is a 2-year program, which includes your junior and your senior years. It is a credential program where you are required to obtain either 1,200 or 1,500 hours. And let me explain what that means. 1,200 hours, just for whatever reason you're unable to get the 1,500 hours, you are allowed to get 1,200 hours and work under an apprentice. You can work with an apprenticeship, work for an apprenticeship, and obtain an apprenticeship license. With that being said, you would have to work under a licensed cosmetology for at least 6 months, no less than 6 months, in order to obtain your cosmetology license. You do obtain an apprenticeship license. You go to board and take the exam just as you would with the 1,500 hours. Now, with the 1,500 hours, you don't have to work under a licensed cosmetologist. You actually finish your program, finish with the 1,500 hours. There are performances, completions that you have to complete as well as the hours. But with the 1,500 hours, if you have met all your requirements, you go to board, you take the exams, the written, which is the theory, and the practical, which is the hands-on. You take all of that, and if you pass, you will obtain your cosmetologist license. So that's the difference with the apprentice. With the apprentice, you have to work under a licensed cosmetologist for 6 months. With the 1,500 hours, you can go straight to board and take your take your exam, and hopefully obtain your license. That's how that works. Also, Cosmetology One, like I said, it's a 2-year program. In Cosmetology One, you will come into the program as a junior. And in Cosmetology One is where we lay the foundation. It's where you get your introduction to cosmetology. That's when we go through the book. You get your textbook, and you get all the materials that support the course and the curriculum that we're teaching. So in that first year, you will not touch a mannequin. Well, let me take that back. You will touch a mannequin after first semester of your first year. But that first semester, the whole first semester, is nothing but theory work. That when I say theory, that's textbook, your workbooks. We're teaching you the history. We're teaching you hairstyling. We're teaching you chemical services. All of that we have to teach you before we move you on to Cosmetology 2. Cosmetology 2 is your second year. And that's when, at that point, you're on the clinic floor. The clinic floor is where you will receive clients. And when I say clients, that's live models where you will give services, perform services on clients that come in for maybe hairstyling, facials, manicures, pedicures, hair coloring, a haircut, whatever services that they want to receive, you will be able to render those services. Now, you can only render those services if you complete Cosmetology 1. So Cosmetology 1 prepares you for Cosmetology 2 to be able to perform those services. That's how that works. And we still do theory work in Cosmetology 2, but about 75% of that involves mannequin, and live performances. But we still have to give theory because there is a second part of that that you will only get in second year. So we still do the theory part. So you will always have to have your textbook, always have to have whatever materials that are needed for your learning process. The requirements for the program, they're not really like strict requirements at all. But I guess when I say requirements, you actually have to be in, we have a dress code, you have to be in uniform. Your uniform consists of your top, your bottom, which is black, black leather shoes, black lab jacket, name tag, your badge, and that's it. That's it. You have to be in uniform every day. If you're not in uniform every day, you will not obtain hours. That's part of the program as far as state board. State board has that as a rule. If you are not in uniform, you will not obtain hours. So that is one requirement. You have to be in uniform every day. Another requirement is you have to purchase a kit for the program. The kit that is used, you have your blow dryer, all everything that you would need to use, your equipment, your materials, your implements, everything is in that kit that you would need to help you be successful in the program. So you have to purchase that as well. Also, your textbooks are also given to you as well. Also, another thing that we stress requirement: attendance. Students are encouraged to attend class every day. That's how you get your hours. If you miss days, you don't get hours. And it doesn't matter if you're sick. And I know this sounds heartless, but it doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter if someone died and you had to miss time. State board, it's not my rule, it's state board's rule. So it's, if you're not present, you don't get hours. And I know that sounds insensitive. I feel you, I understand, but if you're not there, we can't give hours. Okay, so it's very imperative that you are in class every day, Monday through Friday, 12:30 to 5 o'clock, which is your third and fourth block, and it is an extended day. With saying that, you have to be willing to make the sacrifice to be in the program. There are some programs at your school that you may not be able to participate in. After school programs, you may not be able to participate in. That is a choice and a decision you will have to make. It will be a sacrifice. So you will have to be willing to make that sacrifice. Also, we do still, a lot of students get this confused for whatever reason, but we are part of Union County Public Schools. So whatever Union County does, that's what we do as well. We're just not on your campuses. We're on another campus. We're on a different campus, but we still operate as Union County Public Schools. So when Union County is out, we're out. When Union County has a snow day, we have a snow day. When Union County has a teacher work day, we have a teacher work day. So you still follow the same calendar as your home school. We're just not at your home school, but we're still part of the system. Okay. Um, what else? Documentation. That's a requirement that you have to have when entering the program. We have to have a copy of your birth certificate, a copy of your social security card, and a copy of a driver's license or a state ID. Those are the three documentations that we have to have in order to enroll you in the program. And these things are needed by state board. They have to have those things. And what they do, they compare that to whenever you come to board to take the exam. They take all those pieces of ID and they compare them to whatever you put on your application, and they compare your picture to what you look like when you're there in person taking the exam. So we have to have that documentation on file because we do get visits from state board and they do go through every file of each student to make sure that we have those pieces of documentation that is needed. Transportation. You have to provide your own transportation as well. You have to provide your own transportation. Um, we discourage carpooling. We discourage carpooling. So just say you and another student go to the same school and you want to come to ride together. That is not permissible. and I'm going to say this, and Brian and Kim, you let me know if I'm wrong. I think the only way it's permissible is if a student has permission from both parents that they can ride together and they will be held liable for that. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, they need to have permission, and I would say that they need to talk with the their home school administration on that. So if they have questions on that, I would encourage them to talk with them on that. But there
Okay.
is one of those things that they are, it's just because of liability that it can be concerning.
Okay. Okay. So you have to provide, you're responsible for your own transportation there and getting home, your own transportation. Pretty much that's it. But my main thing is dedication, 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 commitment, commitment, commitment. You have to, if you are sure this is what you want to do, cosmetology is what you want to do, then in order to be successful, you have to be committed to the process. The process is not always easy. It doesn't always feel good. You're going to have to give up some things that you may love to do. But if this is really what you want to do, then you will make the sacrifices that you have to make in order to be committed to the program. Um, I just encourage attendance is very important.
So, Miss Goodson, you did a great job talking about your program and what you do in it. And one thing I want to just say about this program, this is one of the programs that we have in the school system where if you complete this program, you can go to work. You can go right to
Right.
work and make a good living with a recognized certificate to do hair care and things like that. So I would really think that this would be something, if this is a passion you have, you would want to jump into. Now, a couple of things I want to just make sure that everybody understands too. This is a double blocked 2-year program. So what that means is you're going to have 2 periods a day, both semesters. So this actually counts as a 4-credit course each year. So it's half your day. And that's because of the time that it takes to get this credential that Miss Goodson mentioned. So I know when you're thinking about your schedule and you're talking with your counselors and your career development coordinator, it's definitely something that you may want to just talk about, ask them about that. That goes back to what Ms. Goodson said. It does mean that you're sacrificing some other electives to be able to do this because it does take a lot of time to do it. One of the things I would encourage you to do if you're kind of on the fence about this program, because it is your entire junior and senior year, is spend a little bit of time, number one, getting to know your career development coordinator and talking with them about this pathway and this program. They may be able to, and we also have open house that you can go and look at and find some information about. It's been virtual, probably virtual again this year, but there'll be some information about that where you learn a little bit more about what the program's all about. We also have a program called Major Clarity, where you can go in. Any student who's already a Union County Public Schools student from grades 6 through 12 has access to this through Clever in their MyNC Ed Cloud. So your son or daughters would know how to do that. They would know right where to go to get into that. Same place they would go get into Canvas and things like that. But it's a great tool for you to go in and explore careers. And if you're interested in a career in this industry, you can go take some little assessments and do some activities. And it can maybe help you decide do I want to invest this much into this program? Is this really what I want to do? So when you get to that junior year, you can make a good, confident decision that I'm ready to jump in it because I think this is the career I want to have. Miss Goodson and Miss Coffey are the 2 instructors out there. They're located at Walter Bickett, or the old Walter Bickett. It's a great facility with state-of-the-art equipment, and they do a phenomenal job with their students out there and getting them prepared. So, just to make sure everybody was clear on that and some of those things in there. Ms. Hayward, did I miss anything? Just kind of overviewing those things. Okay. So I want to ask, thank you. All right. So I know she said there's a couple questions coming in. So if you want to shoot those out this way, we'll go ahead and try to answer those.
All right, great. Again, if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. So Ms. Goodson, the first question says, in the 2 years, do you complete 1,200 hours or 1,500 hours?
In the 2 years, you complete 1,500 hours if you are present.
And I think that's the key. That's the key, Ms. Goodson. You were talking about you got to be there. If you miss many days, it makes it challenging. And COVID has made it a little bit challenging to get to the
Yes.
1500. So that, like right now, if you're in this program and if we're continuing in a 2-day a week or 3-day a week, what we're doing with cosmetology right now, because they use Fridays, those days are even more valuable for you to get in there.
Right.
You've got to get in there if at all possible.
Right.
Okay, so the next question is, can you give me an idea about the homework?
Homework. I hate to put this out there because every year is different. Every year is different. It depends on the class. I very rarely give homework unless the classwork or the class time is not being taken advantage of. So homework is not, but what I will say, it is a lot of information. Even though I may not give you homework, you have to do homework on your own. You have to take the initiative. Even though we teach it in class, it's not something that you're just going to remember it one day and it's going to be there. You have to constantly refresh your mind, refresh your memory, read over the information, because this, you're talking about a career. You're talking about something that you're going to go out and you're going to offer services to the public. And a lot of those services entail chemicals. So a lot of this stuff you have to go over and over. I can't stress it. I stress that with every class. You need to refresh. So even though I may not give you the homework, you will have homework when it comes to the book. We do a lot of book work. It is a heavy load and we move very quickly. So that's why I say it would be very important for you to review. Even though we do it in class, review when you get home, because it's a lot of information and we move very fast.
All right, so the next question we have is there an esthetician program?
No, there is not. We do teach facials, but we only teach you the basics. If esthetician is what you're looking, that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to jump into, then you would have to actually go to an esthetician school and get the rest of the, the teaching. We give you the foundation where you can actually perform a basic facial, but when it comes to all the machinery and the equipment and different things and laser and microdermabrasion, we don't teach that part of it. We just teach you the basic facial. So you will be able to do a basic facial on someone as a licensed cosmetologist. But when you start getting into the aesthetics of it, then you have to go to an esthetician school to get the rest of the training.
Okay, another question we have, and Mr. Davis may want to answer this one, but it says, I don't have my driver's license and my parents work. How can I get transportation?
So again, the school system does not provide transportation. So that's going to be something that you would have to work out with your family. Unfortunately, for this program and other academy programs, we do not provide that. That may be something you may also want to talk. You can talk with your career development coordinator. Maybe they can have some suggestions for you, but unfortunately, that is something that we can't provide.
Okay. And another question that came through is, where is the physical classroom?
The physical classroom is actually on the campus of Walter Bickett Ed Center, which is the old Walter Bickett Center, which is on South Washington Street, off of, I think that's Lancaster. Is that Lancaster that is off that street runs off of? Okay.
Yes.
I live in Charlotte, so I only go to work and come home. So
You're fine. It's right there. And one thing to point out is there are actually 2 classrooms in the cosmetology program. You have the classroom for cosmetology 1 and the classroom for cosmetology 2. So we do have videos on our website that if you want more information, you can go out there and see the video. And I think it actually kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what the classrooms look like also.
And let me add to that, Kim. Actually, when she said classroom for 1 and class for 2, actually, Cosmetology 1 is a physical classroom with desk and everything. Cosmetology 2 is not your normal classroom. It is a clinic floor. So in that room, we actually have the stations, the hair dryers, shampoo bowls, your back bars, your cabinets, your dispensary. Everything is in that room. So it wouldn't be per se like a set up as a traditional classroom, but we do class in there. And we also have a separate room for manicures and pedicures as well.
It looks like a salon for the second level when you go in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. So, let's see. I don't have any other questions at the moment. If you have any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. We still have a little bit more time if there's any that come up that we can ask. Again, if you get off of the actual call and you think of a question, there is a Google Doc that you can go to be able to add questions when we are completely done. And I will post that again in the chat. So if you think of one when you're over, that document will be added to our website along with a recording of today's sessions. And you can go back and look and review those as well. One thing I want to point out is kind of the process. If anybody is unsure about how, if you are interested, what you would need to do is when you are a rising junior, typically around registration time, there is an academy application process that you would fill out, and cosmetology is listed on that academy application. And we would from there determine the number of places, the number of spots. Cosmetology class holds 20 students, correct, Ms. Goodson?
That's correct.
Those spaces are not divvied up among the schools. It's 20 regardless of the schools, the home schools. It's not, for example, we don't give Porter Ridge 2 spots and Marvin Ridge 2 spots. It is completely lottery as far as the individuals that are placed in the program. So once you are placed, then you do an orientation, an open house. We take care of all of the documentation. Ms. Goodson mentioned the kit and the uniform. We provide you with all of that information when you receive your information about the program. The kit is something you do have to purchase, but it is your kit. So when you leave, it goes with you. It is not something that belongs to Union County Public Schools. It belongs to you, and you take that with you. And then the uniform, we make arrangements for you to purchase your uniform or what you need to do. The uniform, in case you're not sure, it's scrubs. It's very similar to scrubs is what it is. And she mentioned it's black. So we give you all of the details for that as well. Are there any other questions that anybody may have? Again, you're welcome to unmute and ask, or you can put them in the chat.
Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
go ahead.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm sorry. It's really loud in the background.
No, you're fine.
I had a question. My daughter is currently a junior. This might be specific to her. Is it possible for her to just do 1 year of the program just to understand if that's something she's interested in after she does a 4-year degree?
No, it has to be 2 years. It's not just a 1-year program.
Okay, thank you.
And that is due to the number of hours for the cosmetology board, correct, Ms. Goodson? That's
Yes.
not something, it's because of how many hours the students have to have for the cosmetology board. And also to speak on that with the number of hours, because those hours, that's why it's so crucial that our students have to start at beginning of their junior year and have an extended day in order to allow enough time for them to get those hours in. You know, Mr. Davis mentioned it is a 4-credit course each year. So what happens is students need to understand that they would take their core courses in the morning. So they may have English and science in the morning and then travel to cosmetology. These classes pretty much take care of their electives on their schedule. There's really no other room other than their core courses and these classes. So it is a full year for the first year. So what happens is we want to make sure students understand that if they start the program for the first semester and decide, yeah, this isn't really what I want to do, and they want to drop out and do another and take more electives in the spring semester, they actually will be behind in credits because it's a year-long class and the final credits are not issued to the end of the year. So that's one thing we really want students to understand is this course is designed for individuals girls who know now they want to go into this area when they graduate, because if it's something they think they may just have an interest and want to do on the side, it is a full long commitment for this program, and it could potentially put you behind in credit hours in high school if you get in and decide it's not for you. So another question that came in real quick is, what is the next step towards enrolling? So the next step towards enrolling would be to complete that academy application that I mentioned earlier. You can do so by visiting our website. There is a link on our website. The academy application is live for the 21-22 school year. It is available for you to start doing that. And again, you can also talk with your CDC and get some more information from your high school CDC. And if you're not sure who that might be, there is a link in the chat that you can go to and see who that is. That is it for the questions that I have. We still have a few more minutes. Mr. Davis, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to thank everybody who came in to participate in the session this morning. We do have our next session starting in about 3 or 4 minutes, and we are going to be talking about career and college promise. And we have Melanie Brown, who will be joining us from Union County Public Schools, and she is our liaison for South Piedmont Career and College Promise. So I think that will be a really informational session for you to learn about what that program is. I also want to thank Ms. Goodson. I know it's a Saturday morning. We really appreciate you giving us some time this morning. I hope that it's beneficial for all those that are interested in your program. Again, I can't reiterate how great a job that those ladies do out there. It's a phenomenal program with state-of-the-art equipment, and they really do give those students an opportunity to go right out of high school into a career. So with that being said, if you do think of any questions, please, after this session, put them in that document. We'll make sure that they get answered, and we will be posting those sometime in the near future. What we'll do, we've got about 3 minutes till our next session starts, and we'll let Ms. Brown get prepared, and we'll give everybody just a couple minutes to take a quick break before the next session. Again, thank you, Ms. Goodson, and for those of you who are sticking around, we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Hey, Melanie. So I think you have a presentation you want to share.
Yes. Hey.
But if you want to go ahead and pull it up, you're welcome to. You can just hit the screen share at the bottom of the screen and go ahead and pull it up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to do that right now.
You getting it okay? You're muted. Melanie, you're muted, so I'm not sure if you're asking. There we go.
No, I was talking to myself.
That's okay. I didn't know if you were asking for help or what. I'm like, I can't help you if you're asking. Okay, you're good now. It's up and running and everything. So we'll start here shortly. We do have a few people in the waiting room. So I can go ahead and start letting them in since we're about a minute out.
All right, sounds good. Can you guys hear me okay? Do I need to turn up my volume?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Just pray that my lamp in here doesn't fall to the ground. It's acting a little shifty.
So we have added a few more people, and we'll continue to monitor the waiting room. It is 9:30. So Mr. Davis, I'm not sure if you want to go ahead and start.
Yep. Again, we have several new people who are joining us, so I want to welcome you to our second session this morning regarding career and college promise. We want to just introduce Melanie Brown, who is the Union County Public Schools liaison for career and college promise. So just a few things before we get started. Do want to know that we will provide opportunities for you to ask questions. You can ask questions in multiple ways. First and foremost, you can put them in the chat, and Miss Hayward, who is our host today, will relay those questions to Miss Brown, and we will try to get those answered for you. The second way is you can simply unmute and you can ask the questions directly. So feel free to do that. And if you need to have a conversation with with Melanie, she will be more than happy to answer those questions. And if there's a question that you have that you don't think of at the time of the session, we have a document that will be posted in the chat that you can add those questions, and we will have answered at a later time and posted on our website. So with that being said, I want to thank Melanie for taking time on a Saturday morning to come in and talk about Career and College Promise. She is a super knowledgeable person about this process, and really can give you guys a good understanding of what it is and why it's important for CTE pathways and how it can benefit your son or daughter. So with that being said, Melanie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Brian, and good morning, everyone. And I'm gonna try to look in the camera, but I'm also looking on the side at Brian and Kim's faces. So if you see me, my eyes moving, don't worry, I'm looking at them. So like Brian said, my name is Melanie Brown, and I am Union County Public Schools Career and College Promise Coordinator. Some of you in here may have already met me before, but if not, then that is okay. You're going to meet me today. So I'm going to start off with really explaining what the Career and College Promise Program is. And this is a tuition-free statewide program that allows high school students to earn college credit by taking courses with a partner community college. So in Union County, we partner with South Piedmont Community College, SPCC. And I do want it to be understood that the participation in this program is definitely a privilege. While it is statewide, we do want to make sure in Union County that students understand what the program entails and that they are ready to accept the responsibilities of a regular college student. Okay, so this is the breakdown as far as eligibility. So I am going to start with the CTE pathway, the Career and Technical Education pathway. So let me just go ahead and clarify. The Career and College Promise program is primarily for juniors and seniors. Freshmen and sophomores do have options and opportunities, which I'm going to get to as I go through the two pathways. But just note that, again, this is a program that is really for our junior and senior students. Since you are participating in a college level classes and you are really a college student, we want students to have enough time to make sure that they are properly prepared for this type of program as they enter into high school. So for Career and Technical Education pathway, the first part we will go through is for the eligibility, the student must be a high school junior or senior. They should have an unweighted GPA of 2.8 on high school courses, and they've demonstrated college readiness in English, reading, and mathematics on an assessment. You also will need to apply through South Piedmont, go through their application process and their registration process when it comes to signing up for classes and enrolling. To be eligible for the CTE pathway as a freshman or sophomore, students must meet the following criteria. So like I said, it is a little bit more because you are just coming into high school and you are really starting to get your footing into the high school setting. So for one, you have to choose an approved pathway. It cannot include any universal general education transfer components. So that's a big word. It just means those dual enrollment courses. You also need to be within the pathways that include engineering, industrial, agriculture and natural resources, transportation systems, or construction and business technology programs. So there are about 5. They kind of look like they run together, but if you reach out to your career development coordinator on your campus, they'll be able to break those down a little bit more for you. But you would need to be within one of those 5 programs, as well as have passed Math 1 with a grade of C or better. You need to have scored a level 3, 4, or 5 on your Math 1 and 8th grade English EOC. So 3, 4 or better on those 2. You also need to have a recommendation letter from your high school principal and from South Piedmont's, either their chief academic officer or their chief student development administrator. You have to have a high school unweighted GPA of 2.8 or demonstrate college readiness on approved assessments in English, reading, and mathematics. And this is mainly a sophomore requirement. Some things have changed a little bit this year, I think, with the current situation. So if this is of interest to you as we research it, that piece may be a little bit different. But if you you definitely have to have those approved assessments. As far as the GPA piece, that may change. And then lastly, participate in an advising conversation that explains the requirements of the CCP program, and whether that is not that, excuse me, that doesn't just include your counselor, but that is your counselor, that's your principal, that's the stakeholders at South Piedmont. So you have to be with it, you have to have a conversation with them so that they know that you're prepared, you understand what's involved, and all of the smaller technical pieces. But the last piece I have here that I really want you guys to focus on is, please contact your school's career and development coordinator about school level options before seeking CCP enrollment. There are several courses that your school is, specific schools, excuse me, tongue tied on a Saturday morning, I haven't had my coffee yet, that your school will offer, as well as other schools in the district that are open to you. There are also programs that you would start later on, like as a junior or senior in the CCP program, that you need foundational courses on the high school level before you can start the program. One of which, and Brian and I talk about this all the time, and Kim too, nurse's aid. So I know that that is a part of one of the new academies they have in Monroe, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on. But the nurse's aid program is a big one where you must have that health sciences 1 and 2 on the high school level to be eligible for the nurse's aid program through CPCC. And so when you don't look into what's offered on the school level and just kind of jump into the CCP program, you're really missing out on some opportunities that Union County already provides.
Hey, you didn't unplug it.
Yeah. What's that?
So now let's move on to the college transfer pathway. The college transfer pathway, these are for students who want to take those dual enrollment courses that are going to transfer over to either a 2-year school or a 4-year university. So for that to be eligible, again, you must be a junior or senior. You have an adequate understanding of what being a CCP participant entails. That's a big one that I'm trying to push out to students this year and moving forward. I really want you to understand what is involved in being in this program. You have an unweighted GPA of a 2.8, and you demonstrate college readiness on approved assessments or placement tests. Now, to be eligible for enrollment in the college transfer pathway as a freshman or sophomore, there are, again, a few more pieces of criteria you must meet. For one, you have to be listed as academically gifted. You have passing scores from approved CCP assessments. You participate in an advising conversation that explains the requirements of the CCP program, and you complete paperwork, which includes specific signatures from student, parent, UCPS, and SBCC stakeholders. This will also include that recommendation from your principal, the chief officer from SBCC. So this one does require a little bit more. Please note at the bottom that at this time, eligibility for 9th and 10th grade students interested in the college transfer pathway will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis to determine if they meet the requirements listed above, as well as any district level requirements. So again, this process on both ends, the community college and the district, we are trying to hash out everything to make sure that students are properly prepared and we know exactly what they need to have, and we can move them forward properly and safely. So if there is an interest, we are reviewing cases individually on a case-by-case basis, and for us to determine what the next steps will be. So because I just spoke about the career transfer pathway, I want to go briefly over dual enrollment. Just being in this position, I know that I've come across several parents and students who may be a little bit unsure about what it means when it comes to transferring those courses. So dual enrollment allows students to complete those high school graduation credits and earn college credits simultaneously, which is great. While this is an option, students need to be careful when considering this opportunity. Taking courses that are considered graduation requirements at an entity outside of the district, it does leave students at the mercy of the separate institution, and it can affect their ability to play sports and have the correct number of credits for graduation if for whatever reason they don't pass or there's just an issue within the course. So South Piedmont has its own procedures and guidelines that UCPS cannot override. And if students enroll in a CCP course that will count as dual enrollment on the high school level, they need to ensure that they can handle the requirements of college and coursework, because those are big things. So that includes American History 1 and 2, that would be like History 131, History 132, that includes some of the math courses, that includes some of your English classes. So again, it's not to say that it can't happen. We just want to make sure that students understand that if a larger issue arises, as always, I will do the best that I can to mediate that situation. But there are only certain things that the district can do, because we have to make sure that we're also following South Piedmont's procedures and guidelines. We can't go past that. So what are your next steps? If you are interested in the CCP program, or you just have questions about it, you should do the following things. So contact your counselor and speak to your CDC and discuss your academic plans, goals, and personal options. Review the options provided on the high school level, which includes your specific school and district-wide. So I want to make sure that I reiterate that, especially for CTE. There are classes and programs that are offered at other high schools, but you can still be eligible for. You just need to speak to your CDC to see how that would work out. If you're planning to attend college, research institutions to see their requirements for transfer credit, and if the courses of interest will be beneficial for the college or program of your choice. So yes, CCP courses will transfer to most North Carolina colleges and universities. However, whether the course will transfer into the specific program is determined by that receiving school. So for example, you take English 111 through CCP and you go to an in-state school. That receiving school can still decide that they still want you to take their entry-level course, their foundation courses, and they have the right to agree to that transfer or not. Now, most of them will accept the transfer courses, but it just really depends on what that will look like for your program. And then you need to evaluate if you can handle the workload of a college course with your high school course load and personal extracurricular activities, because again, this is a college class and it's going to involve college level work. So if you work a part-time job, you're in a lot of sports or clubs, and you have a full course load, you're taking some other AP courses or honors courses or whatever else, this is going to require a portion of your time, and you want to make sure that you are being able to manage your time appropriately. And then lastly, meet with your counselor to determine how CCP courses will work with your high school schedule. That's a big one. You want to make sure that what you enroll in or what you're interested in is going to work with the schedule that you already have, which includes classes you have to take for graduation on your campus and the open space that you have. So I really hate when students, I hate it for the students when they're enrolled in a course and then they end up having to drop the course a few days after the class has already started. It just, it kind of throws them off. It kind of throws me off. So the goal is to make sure that the students know what their schedule looks like. They've kind of planned it out to say, yes, I can fit this class in at this point, and they are ready to go. So interested in the CTE/CCP, these are pathways to investigate. So these pathways have a combination of high school and CCP courses. Ninth graders would have to apply for interest into these pathways, but will gain so much real world and collegiate experience. So these are the two schools that I'm highlighting. Monroe, which I said, or maybe I didn't say, has a brand new health science academy. And these applications are due by February 15th. So it's great if you're sitting in on this presentation, you have time to reach out to your home school for additional information, but that includes our clinical health sciences and operational health science pathways. And I want to say the clinical health, I believe, is the one that leads into like the nurse's aid, but please reach out to your home schools to go over those. They look like brand new. They are brand new, but they look like great options for pathways. And then of course, our CATA, Central Academy of Technology and Arts. The one that I'm going to focus on is the cybersecurity, because that one in particular does start off with courses that you have to take the ninth grade, and then they just continue on. So think of that as kind of like a cohort for both of these programs. CATA, of course, has several other courses and pathways, but again, these are the ones that I wanted to focus on. And I am pretty much done with my basic information. Here gives my office number and extension, my email, and then also the link to the Career in College Promise website. So I will go ahead and let everybody know. Right now, I am using the book room where I disperse textbooks, and if I didn't mention that before, currently the district does pay for textbooks for CCP courses. There is a process as far as a sign-up link that I send out to students and counselors and career coaches so that they know, when you need to sign up for a textbook appointment. But I am using the book room as my office as well. So my office number and extension, it does still work. It's just that I don't have a black phone in that location. So please, if you call me, please leave a message. And it actually comes to my email and my cell phone, because like a crazy person, I have my email linked to my cell phone. So I can listen to that message and then give you a call back. My email, of course, you can email me at any time, and I will respond back to you within 24 to 48 hours. A lot quicker if I'm right at my computer and I can answer your question readily. And then the website just gives the information I listed here, other links about textbooks and things like that. Any new information is posted on the website. And so now I'm open to questions.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. You did a great job covering a lot of information about Career and College Promise. So what we'll do is, if you have questions, feel free to do either ask them multiple. You got multiple ways to ask them, but we'll start with the chat. If anybody's putting in the chat, we'll go ahead and start with those. Then after that, we will allow you, if you'd like, you can unmute and ask Melanie if you have questions verbally.
Okay, Melanie. So a question that came from the chat said, how do we get a recommendation from South Piedmont's chief academic officer when we've never met them?
So the recommendation will actually come after you've applied and you're on our radar, basically. So once you have reached out to your counselor, your CDC, and you say this is something that you're interested in, and you've talked to your principal, that information, you also will meet with the career coach for that campus. And the career coach will pass along your information to South Piedmont, and they will go through their process of letting them know after they've spoken with you, your parents, your principal. Once you have all of your pieces kind of done on the high school side, then that goes over to South Piedmont and the process will start with them. The only thing you would really need to do first for that is to reach out to your counselor, your career coach, to start that conversation, your CDC, as well as probably go ahead and apply to South Piedmont. So then as soon as you apply, that'll kick into them as their cue, like, oh, we have a new student who is interested in enrolling. So as far as you actually setting up an appointment with the chief academic officer, I doubt that they would do that. I honestly have not met the chief academic officer yet in face-to-face. But again, as those individual situations come, we will take them and look at them. So if there is a case where you have to actually meet with them, or they want to meet with you just to, just to see who you are and hear what you have to say, then we would definitely set that up.
All right, great. So another question from the chat is, when should we apply for CCP classes, and when is the deadline, or when is it due?
So that information, you would need to reach out to your counselor. Now, South Piedmont, they have registration periods. We should be coming up on the one for the fall soon. I want to say that is March or April. The one for spring courses happened in November. So that information goes out to your counselors and your career coach. Every high school has a career coach. Some career coaches they're sharing, like they have 2 schools, but that information, you can get their name and email from your counselor. I also have that, and I will need to add that to the website if that's helpful, so that you can check to see to reach out to them. But they will be able to tell you when registration starts, and that information is pushed out. So I send out emails, your counselors will let you know, your career coaches will let you know. On SPCC's website, it is listed when registration starts. So it really will be you talking to your counselor first, getting the information for your career coach, and then contacting him or her to say, I'm interested. Can you tell me when that's going to start? Can you help me prepare? Before you even think about registering for courses, you need to make sure you've applied to South Piedmont. So again, reach out to your counselors first and your career coach, that South Piedmont career coach, and they will get you in the right steps. Now, when it comes to registration, let me please reiterate this. Do not wait until the last minute to register. Classes do fill up quickly, but the process for their registration has changed. So now most of it is virtual. You fill out a form, you go into their queue, they will clear and make sure everything is okay. And then you will need to go back through and check your South Piedmont email to make sure that registration has been cleared. And with that, you'll say what courses you want. They'll let you know if you are actually in a course. What I mean by don't wait until the last minute is when it comes to when their classes start and when the semester at the high school level starts. So we all know at this point that you have about 10 days when it starts a new semester to make those changes to your schedule. But in those times, sometimes the community college has already started courses, and by you trying to register late, you're starting their courses a little bit late, and they have what's called a census date. So on that census date, you have until up until this date to drop or add a course. But if you have not logged in or done their introductory work or whatever that instructor needs for you to do to know that you're actually in the course, they will drop you. And if they drop you and you don't know, or the high school doesn't know, again, that's the case where it can affect your credits. It can affect what's going on with your schedule. So please, when registration opens, you have to be the early worm. Go ahead and make sure everything is in, make sure you submit all your documents, and then actively and consistently check your email, whether that is the Union County one or South Piedmont. I send emails to your Union County email address. I also push out this information to your counselors, so they should send something to your Union County or your Canvas. I give it to your career coaches. They send it to your South Piedmont. I've heard a lot this semester that, oh, I don't check that one, or I haven't checked my email in 6 weeks. Guys, I need for you to make sure that you're checking your email, because that is how you're going to receive your information.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Davis, that's the questions we have in the chat. I don't know if there's anything else you need to add.
Yeah, thanks, Kim and Melanie. Great job. I mean, you just provided so much information. I know it was a lot. I know we had a few people who joined kind of mid-session. Just make sure everybody knows the session is being recorded. We will have these recordings posted first of next week. So if you missed part of it, and because I know Melanie provided a lot of great information, just know that you can go back and watch this session later on. Also, again, just to reiterate how important our career development coordinators and the career coaches are in this process. One place, if you're coming in as a freshman and you're just kind of thinking about this a little bit, go talk with your career development coordinator as well as your guidance counselors and kind of get their thoughts on the process that they have and what's out there. They can also work with those career coaches to really kind of set up a plan for you if those are things that you're looking at. So just to make sure that you all also know that we do have a nice tool that we pay for all 6th through 12th graders called Major Clarity, where you can go in using your Clever login, which is the single sign-on that we use, and they can access a lot of career information. They can look at colleges, they can look at community colleges, they can look at careers, and they can do several little assessments that help them kind of narrow down some of the areas that they may be looking in. So I would encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to log into that, play with it, look at all the things that we have. There's a lot of things like academy applications we may be moving there. Our internship applications are already there. So just wanted to make sure that you knew that was a resource that we have for our students. With that being said,
Brian,
Melanie.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to, especially since this is the CTE, their high school expo, some of you have siblings, or you may have family friends who are already in the Career and College Promise program. And so you know some of this information, and that's great. What I do want to reiterate is the career piece of Career and College Promise. I know that some students, they really just want to focus on the college transfer pathway, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like Brian said, the CTE department has a plethora of options and courses and pathways that students can take that will prepare them for the future, that will give them just an idea of things that they're interested in. And I don't know if you watched the video that they have posted that I did for the program, kind of like a nice little voiceover. But a lot of these classes or certificates that they offer, like CTE is basically like the seed that builds our CCP flower. So they are the starting piece. You need to really look into what your high school offers, what the district offers, to see how CTE can help you prepare for the career in college program. So I really just want to reiterate that again. Like Brian said, please reach out to your CDC at the high school, at your high school. Reach out to your counselor. You know, really talk to them first and think about what you're interested in and what you want to do. I know that you guys are freshmen, so you are young. You have your whole lives ahead of you. Don't rush it. Adulthood is not that much fun. If nobody will tell you, I will tell you. So, you know, we just want to make sure that you are properly prepared, but you are coming into a very big important part of your life. Enjoy it. You know, check out those interests, see what you like. You don't have to know fully what's going to happen exactly right after high school because you're just getting here. So go out, take your time and investigate and talk to people before you jump into something. Make sure that this program is for you and what will work for you and not just what someone else thinks works for you. So that's the last thing I want to say. I'm gonna get off my high horse. And if there are no more questions, again, my contact information is there. Again, please, if you call my office phone, please leave a message so that I can call you back. But I would prefer email, and then, you know, in that way, I would be able to call you back if necessary because I am a talker, as you can see. So if you have any other questions and you want to just speak to me individually, please reach out to me on those two platforms. And if that's nothing else, I hope you have a great Saturday.
Thank you, Melanie. I really appreciate you taking time to participate with us. And you, again, I just can't reiterate how important and how the information that she presented was. And it's really good to have an opportunity now to know about these programs and what they offer. So with that being said, we've got about 4 minutes until our next session starts. Our next session will start promptly at 10 a.m. We're going to begin with our Ag Mechanics program with Mr. Latta. He is going to be joining us. And then we're going to cover our welding program with Mr. Churchill. So we will be moving into that. We're going to give a few minutes for people who may specifically be attending for that session to join. And then we will get started again promptly at 10 a.m. So if you think of questions for Melanie after the fact, just pops in your head and she's already signed off, please enter those questions in the document that's been posted in the chat, and we will make sure that we get those answered for you as quickly as possible and posted on our website. So again, just wanted to make sure that you knew that was an option out there. So we've got about 3 minutes now till we start. So we're going to just let everybody take a quick break, and we will be back with you in about 3 minutes at 10 a.m. So for those that you are joining, we will be starting again promptly at 10 o'clock. So in about 1 more minute, we'll go ahead and kick off the last and final session of the CTE High School Programs Expo with the Agriculture Mechanics presentation. So we will be starting in just a few minutes, or just a minute, excuse me. Okay, it is 10 a.m. So we're going to go ahead and get started right on time for Saturday morning. So again, First and foremost, want to make sure everybody knows that this session is being recorded so that it can be shared at a later date with people who maybe missed the session or joined late. So wanted to take just a minute to introduce our two presenters. Again, we've got Doug Lauda from Sun Valley High School, who is one of our agriculture teachers who specializes in agriculture mechanics and horticulture. He's going to talk a little bit about the agriculture mechanics program. And then following Mr. Lauda, we have Byron Churchill, who is our welding instructor, and he teaches at Munro High School and Parkwood High School. So we've got some really good programs here. I have a lot of interest and a lot of hands-on opportunities for our students. So if you are new or just joining because you're interested in this session, again, just a reminder that we do have an opportunity for you to ask questions. You can post questions in the chat, and Ms. Hayward, who is our host, will get those questions and relay those to our teachers. We also have an opportunity, if you'd like to unmute and ask questions directly, you can do that, and we will provide a time to do that. If you think of questions that you may not, that may be after the session is concluded, we do have a document link in the chat where you can post questions, and we will work to get those answered and posted on the website in the near future. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and welcome Mr. Lauda and turn it over to him.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everything's working good on your end. I'm going to talk about the agricultural mechanics part of agriculture education. This program is offered at 5 of our high schools in the county. Here's kind of the pathway that we're going to look at for mechanics. The first one would be our Ag Mechanics 1. It is open to freshmen through seniors. There is no prerequisite for Ag Mechanics 1. I did have a discussion with Mr. Davis yesterday because I think in the printed version of the program of studies for the county, it listed as 10th through 12th, but it is open to freshmen. So if you know somebody that'll be a freshman next year, that they can take it. After Mechanics 1, they can take Agricultural Mechanics 2, which next year will be inherently honors. So the students will receive an honors credit for that course, and it's open to 10th through 12th graders. With the prerequisite of Ag Mechanics 1. There's also a second option. Level 2 course would be Ag Mechanics 2 Small Engines, which is again another inherently honors course for 10th through 12th grade students, as long as they have successfully completed Ag Mechanics 1 as a prerequisite. At the current time, I think Parkwood High School is the only one that's offering the Small Engines course. I know at Sun Valley, we kind of go based on student interest, and if we have enough students interested in it, we will offer small engines. We've taught it in the past, so we kind of go based on what the students are interested in. So if we have more that are just regular Mechanics 2, or we have the small engines options, we can go either way with the flexibility to teach either course. As far as possible credentials that students can receive, like in Mechanics 2, if they're interested enough, they can do and pursue the welding certification. So they could get certified as a welder upon their graduation from high school. They would be a certified welder. And through Briggs and Stratton, they offer the Master Service Technician certification through Briggs and Stratton through several of the schools. One new change that's coming up that Mr. Davis informed me of a couple weeks ago is that for the 2021-2022 school year, there will be an Ag Mechanics Academy. Kind of like aerospace and some of the other academies of vet assisting. And this will be open to any 11th or 12th grader. They can apply, and this typically goes to academies open to students that their school does not have a shop facility. Like I said, there's several of the new schools do not have shop facilities, but this gives them the access if they're interested in some of the mechanics fields that they can apply for the pathway or academy. And I think next year we talked about it'll be offered at Sun Valley and at Forest Hills with the possibility of expanding to other schools in the future. So that's kind of the pathway here. And then, like I said, this is new for the academy option for next school year. So what do we talk about in class? So we go over FFA, we go through careers, we talk about job interview skills, shop safety, of course, is paramount. We do welding, carpentry, electrical trades or electrical wiring components, woodworking, concrete masonry, fencing, plumbing, tractor safety. And then we do cover small engines, even if we don't teach the inherently honors small engines course, we cover it in ag mechanics too. So they will get some exposure to that in that second level. All right. So there's kind of just a brief list of the topics we go through. I put some pictures here, some stuff the kids in the shop working, getting hands-on, using different pieces of equipment. Some of the woodworking projects we do, you'll see in the lower left. Picture of Adirondack furniture that we build. We do picnic tables and porch swings and stuff, kind of as a hands-on project too, and as a fundraiser for our school. The top right picture, Mr. Davis in the CTE department downtown has partnered with state utilities contractors. We didn't do it this past year, obviously for COVID reasons, but they come out or we go to their different facilities and they bring equipment out for the students to have the opportunity to use. They have, you know, the mini excavator, skid steer, so kids get hands-on. They are taught and instructed by personnel from the company. So that's kind of a neat experience for the kids if there's something that they want to. I've had a couple of kids over the last, I guess the last 2 years that we've done it, that if they would have been interested, they used the equipment enough and they were willing to offer them a job as soon as they graduated from high school based on watching them work the equipment at that kind of expo day. So you can see the other opportunities that we have. In the bottom center, this is our newest piece of machinery in the shop. This is a plasma cam machine, and it does all kinds of intricate designs and metalworking. So that's an introduction for my Mechanics 2 kids. We're going to get some hands-on with that. Very similar to CNC machines. So try to get them where they're geared towards some more industry level opportunities. All right. Our club, we have the National FFA organization. This is intercurricular for students that can, any ag class can join this. It's not just if you want to be a farmer, because Mr. Davis can tell you when I started teaching that there was a lot of farmland around Sun Valley. Now we just tend to grow houses. That's our main industry, it looks like, around Sun Valley right now. But this gives them exposure, whether it be a teacher, scientist, business owners, you know, whether it's landscaping or whether it's a welder, mechanics, and all that, and then provides those opportunities. And then you can see some pictures from our past couple of years with community service and fundraisers and trips and activities and awards that we've received. So I tried to kind of go through that pretty quick. And Mr. Davis said I had about 5 minutes. So I guess Mr. Davis will turn it over if there's any questions or if you want
all right,
to.
Yeah, great job, Doug. I appreciate you covering all that. And just a couple things just to kind of reiterate with that, being an FFA, former FFA advisor and agriculture teacher myself, I can't not just FFA, but any career and technical student organization such as Skills USA, which Byram is a part of, FFA for Ag. They are great opportunities for students to kind of enhance what they're learning in the classroom. And many of these programs are intracurricular, which means they're part of what we teach in the classroom because they're so valuable with the leadership components and the opportunities that they provide to expand on what is learned in the classroom. So just to make sure those are great opportunities, I would encourage your son or daughter to look into those and join those and look at all the opportunities that they have. So very, very good opportunities. The way I say an ag mechanics student is they're kind of the jack of all trades. They get a little bit of everything, which is awesome. And it really lets students kind of decide, well, maybe if they want to specialize in certain areas. So let's say they take Mr. Latta's course and they really like and interested in the welding, they may want to really enhance that and go further into that. And they may want to take Mr. Churchill's welding course to go after that. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Churchill and let you talk a little bit about what you do in your welding program. And then what we'll do is we'll turn it over for questions for both of you guys here at the end. So, Mr. Churchill.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. My welding program, first of all, is expanded a little bit because we're now teaching over at Parkwood High School as well as Monroe. But the first and foremost in our welding program, what we do is the major thing is we want to teach safe welding practices. And so that's mostly emphasized more than anything. Okay. And once we move past that, then we go into how to use power tools. Okay. SMAW. You got 3 different types of welding that are most prevalent. You have SMAW, which is stick welding. You have MIG welding, and then you have TIG welding, okay? And then entry-level welding, which when you come in welding 1 will be stick welding and learning how to use power tools, learning the different types of metals that are used in the industry, learning safe working practices. And as you go into level 2, you build upon that. And we also do fabrication. Once you learn how to use these different processes, we go into what's called fabrication, which is not just you welding on a piece of metal or a plate. You actually get a chance to maybe work on build on projects that we have in the shop. And sometimes we have projects that come through maintenance, and we get a chance to actually do some real work experience, so you understand how things work in the welding field. We also have welding 3, and welding 3 is when you have accomplished MIG, TIG, and stick. Okay, and we also offer AWS certifications. That AWS certifications now is not offered until level 2. Okay, because by level 2, we want to make sure that you're committed. And by you committing yourself, because it's going to take a lot of work to become an AWS certified welder. So we want you to be committed. So we offer that in level 2. We also offer TIG welding, and TIG welding is not an easy process. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And as I said, you got to be committed. I would like to, when COVID, if we get past this COVID situation, I would like to be able to go to a couple of different industries and be able to have students see some of the different projects that are going on around in the welding industry. And I have had contact with some companies to do so. So basically, as I said before, the Welding 1 project, we started Welding 1, okay? Once we started Welding 1, you get a good insight to what's going on. You build from Welding 1, we go into Welding 2. And I said, once you get into Welding 2 and 3, we'll start using different type of welding processes such as MIG and TIG. But the main process in Welding 1 will be stick welding. And anybody have any questions, I would like to answer them.
One thing that I would like to add on that, and this is new for 2020 and 2021 school year, is that all welding courses, welding 1, 2, and 3, will be honors level courses. And that is per the state because of the rigor that they have with those courses. I also want to, I can corroborate exactly what Mr. Churchill is saying. I get calls in my office all the time looking for people who are interested in a welding career. So we work with several industry partners, not only locally in the Monroe area, but in the downtown Charlotte area. So there are a lot of opportunities for many good paying jobs in this career field. It is a high demand field with people who are ready to hire students. And if they come through this program and as they are committed, like Mr. Churchill says, there is an opportunity to earn some industry credentials that will help them be able to get those jobs. So again, it is a great program to get into. We having it expanded at 2 schools does allow us to be able to have more opportunities for students to get involved. And now with the honors level credit, that's another, I guess, bonus for taking our welding courses. So with that being said, Ms. Hayward,
I would just like
is there
to
any
add
questions from Mr. Maddox?
I would just like to add one other thing to that. And also, if you decide that you want to keep going with this welding career, you can also enroll at SP. SP has some very good welding classes over there that can take you further.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Mr. Churchill. We do have a very good partnership with South Piedmont Community College, and they do have welding programs over there that will allow you, as you work through our program, continue on with that. So it is an aligned program. They have a great new facility over there. If you ever get a chance to look at the new Tyson Center where their welding program is housed, there's a lot of equipment over there and very nice opportunities for you to continue your education and gaining those skills, which can help you make more money in your career. So good point, Mr. Churchill. Thank you for bringing that up. So Ms. Hayward.
So if these programs are not offered at my high school, how do I go about attending them?
All right, that's a good question, Ms. Churchill. I can answer this one, and I think Doug alluded to this just a little bit earlier. These programs both are in our academy program. So what that basically means is we have CTE pathways, which are a series of courses that are built on each other in a program area. So for those pathway courses that we do not offer at every school, we have what we call our academy. An academy is nothing more than a pathway that allows students to travel. So what that means is that if a student has their own transportation, as they move into their junior year, they can apply through the academy application for a seat in one of these courses. So for example, if you're at a Marvin Ridge High School and you would like to take ag mechanics, then you would apply for that academy, and by meeting with your CDC, getting information about it, filling it out, then if there are seats available at one of our schools that has ag mechanics, we will work to place you, and you would drive over there and take some of those courses. So that's how that works. And we work to try to make sure that as many students have the opportunity to take those courses as possible. Same thing happens with welding. If they're interested in that, we work to try to provide it. I know, Mr. Churchill, you have students all the time that pop in there from other schools where they want to be in the welding class. So I know you said you even had a student, I believe, from Parkwood this past semester. You're at Monroe this year this semester.
He followed me over to Monroe.
Followed him over there. Correct. So it happens all the time. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in that, to talk with your career development coordinator. Another thing that I'd again like to reiterate too is that we do have a service called Major Clarity that all students grades 6 through 12 have access to. They can go in, take some assessments, and look at some information about careers. And they can watch some videos, and they can do some little activities related to some of these areas, and they can decide whether they're interested in these programs. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that. It also allows you to look at things like how much money you can make in these career fields, where the opportunities are, and you can look at, even as you get into these programs, opportunities for work-based learning. So lots of things that are in there. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't taken a look for that, you definitely can, and your student can access that via Clever, just like they do Canvas and other resources they are used to.
That's it for the questions that we have in the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. Do you guys have anything else that you may want to add? Again, this is being recorded, so other people may look at it at a later date. All right. Well, that sounds great. Well, Mr. Ladd and Mr. Churchill, thanks a lot for taking some time on a Saturday morning. I think it was good information about your programs. Again, if you have any questions after the fact, please enter them into the document that's in the chat, and we will get those answered and posted on our website sometime next week. So if you missed the video and came in late, the video should be available sometime the first of next week on our ucpscte.org website. Also, if you're looking for more information about your career development coordinator, you can find a directory of those individuals on our website as well. And there's a brief video with a bio, so you can learn a little bit about who they are and see their face, especially since we're in the world that we're in with COVID. They may not even be in the building right now. So it's a good opportunity to see who they are. All right. With that being said, I want to wrap up our High School Programs Expo. Thank you both for being here. And again, for those parents and students that are still in, thank you for staying and learning about our programs today.